Hey, it's your girl Go Queen with the Q Chat podcast. Thank you for tuning in to our latest episode. Before we get started, I want to give you some information on how you can grab some Q Chat merchandise. Go to www.goqueen.com and there you can purchase any Q Chat merchandise or any of my Go Love Yourself tees. So go ahead, take a look at the website and feel free to grab some merchandise today. There's something else I want to fill you guys in on. If you haven't heard, Anchor is the hottest and easiest way to make a podcast. It's the best price in the world, free. So go ahead and download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And just remember, Anchor distributes your podcast to all streaming platforms. It's super simple. So go ahead and sit back and get ready to listen to the next episode of the Q Chat. But don't forget, go to www.goqueen.com and grab some merchandise. Thank you for tuning in and get ready to listen in. Go Queen! Okay, so we're ready to do our recording of the new episode of the Q Chat. I'm really excited. Today I have my special guest. Her name is Miss Courtney Mpagi, and she is what many refer to as the one-hit wonder. She has an awesome background, but she also has an awesome, powerful message. So anyone that may follow my page may know that we just did a women's empowerment brunch last December, and Courtney offered an awesome testimony regarding being bold and being bad. So today we're going to continue her awesome talk regarding that and also dive into being bold and being bad and stepping outside your comfort zone and how this also can apply to just following your dreams and women in entrepreneurship. But I want to go ahead and give the floor to Miss Courtney and stay tuned and just listen closely. She has an awesome message. Courtney?
Hi, everyone, and welcome. We are also on Instagram Live if you want to ask some questions as well.
Make sure you give them your handle so they know how to find your Instagram.
Sure, it is Mrs. Mpagi, M as in Mary, R-S, M as in Mary, P-A-G-I. And first off, definitely want to encourage everyone, but most certainly our queens out there to be bad this 2020. Be bad. As I said before, we're expected to be a lot of things. Be good, be sweet, be gentle, and all of those things are great. But bad is bold, agile, and determined. And that's what we want to be all 2020. No more downplaying who we are, what we want to do, to appease others. We're being bold and we're claiming it from the jump. We're being agile. We're moving with our dreams. If they take a turn, if they go up, if they go down, if they go left, we're sticking with it. And we're being determined. We're not giving up for anything in the world. No matter what people say, no matter the opinion, no one's walked the road you've walked. So they can't tell you where it ends.
That's an awesome point.
Absolutely. And I think that if we can shut out the noise, the noise of the naysayers, and even the noise that just kind of exists in our head, sometimes we're our own worst enemy.
Right.
And if we can shut her down,
right, that self-doubt.
That's all we really need. Sometimes, you've heard of friends in your head. Sometimes the enemy is in your head as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Oh, there you are.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have a little bit of a delay. But beyond that, I think 2020, and by most accounts, a lot of people are going into this year encouraged,
Right.
which is a good sign of things to come. A lot of people are leaving behind the, oh, we'll see, oh, I hope this year is different or better. A lot of people are walking in already feeling like this is the year, and so that's definitely exciting, I think. So I think it just in the realm of things, in the spiritual realm of things, it's a great time to start pursuing things, because when so many people are feeling the same thing at the same time, the universe starts to move and things start to happen. So it's just a good time to embark on things and jump on things.
I agree. That is definitely true. I think with any new year, I think naturally as humans we get hyped up, when the new year starts, instead of realizing that honestly we can start new things at any time, but it's just something about a new year where, some people like resolutions, some people do not, but I think every time there's a new year, when everyone's blessed to see it, we just naturally get hyped up and we start thinking about, here's some things we want to do each year. So that ties into what you were saying, just to be excited right now. This is the perfect time to have this conversation because everyone's still on the new year high. It's only been 8 days into 2020, so this is the perfect time to have this conversation while everyone's still hyped up.
Absolutely. And this is one of the first years that I started this year doing what I said I was going to do, hopefully by the end of the year. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like you go into the year thinking, oh, these are some of the goals I want,
right.
Or I can see myself doing this, or gosh, I hope this comes to pass this year. And the first Saturday of the year, last Saturday, I spent speaking at Showers of Blessing Deliverance Temple. And one of my goals, and this was my first year truly doing a vision board, although I did a vision box.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I put in my vision box was to, be able to speak to different audiences, hopefully that audience grows and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So to do that in the first, weekend of the year was like completely awesome. And it kind of renewed my belief in putting positive things out there,
mm-hmm.
being bold, claiming it, no matter what people say. And by George, there it was,
Right.
And even my vision box I had on display in my house
mm-hmm.
for a while. And then I have a 2-year-old, so
mm-hmm.
it's not safe to leave things on display too long. But she left it alone for a good while.
Right.
There are people that came over like, what's that? Da-da-da. But through all of that, no matter who it was, I kept it up. Boldly claiming when you walk in my house,
mm-hmm.
this is what we're going towards,
Well, let me interrupt you for a second. So
Sure.
We all know about vision boards. Can you detail for everyone listening exactly what a vision box is for anyone that may not be familiar with that?
Sure. So the vision board, as it's commonly known,
mm-hmm.
Is usually I see a poster board, and you start to create a vision of what your life will look like in the next 3, 6 months, year, so forth or so on. I decided to personalize mine a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did a vision box because it looked like a television. So I want to produce content for television.
Mm-hmm.
I want to bring my ideas and everything to television. So I thought, well, if I personalize even more, if I don't just do a board,
right,
but I do, a makeshift television set, then I'm really claiming what I want, And so that's where that came from. So whether you do a board or a box, or you get even more creative about what you want, I went through magazines, I went through newspapers, and I pulled pictures, I pulled quotes, I pulled article titles that spoke to what I want to see come to pass in this year. And, that's usually everyone's second thing to do, along with maybe writing their own affirmations. But so mine, and I wish I had it with me, but that I would have to walk through my house then, and then I would run into the 2-year-old, and then things would go awry. But I grabbed things like on set. I saw that in the magazine. Something said on set, and I grabbed snapshots of crowds applauding. I grabbed stuff like motivation and stuff like that. And then there were some other personal things that I wanted to do, like move my family to a bigger home. We've outgrown the home we're in, so I put a bigger home on there and things like that. But not only does it serve as, the visual reminder of the things you're trying to accomplish, but while you're doing it, you feel something, and Sharonda, I don't know if you can speak to that as well, but as I'm pulling the quotes and the pictures and I'm seeing it come together, something kind of stirred while I was doing that. Did you get that at all?
Yes, I totally agree with that. I feel like what you mentioned too is also confirmation. So for example, I feel like sometimes, we'll have dreams or we'll have goals, and I think self-doubt, whether we like to admit it or not, it's human, because we're logical thinkers, I think, each and every one of us. So sometimes we'll weigh out, how is this going to fit into my lifestyle, et cetera, et cetera. But, when you do have that boldness and you say, hey, well, I'm still going to step out on faith, I'm still going to try, there's nothing like receiving that confirmation that it is coming together. And it is, like you said, it's like a supernatural type of feeling where it's like, okay, wow, like this is really coming to pass, even if you haven't reached that finish line yet. But there's instances sometimes, we have those goals where we know we are getting closer to it, whether it's by an inch or by a mile. It is like a great feeling when you just feel like, oh my God, this really has come together. Like, even like when I did the vision brunch. Now, mind you, I just did a podcast last week with Miss Orion, and she mentioned something very pertinent, about people in business. Hey, everyone's doing pop-ups. Don't let that discourage you. Just make yours stand out. So last year, when I decided to do and I kind of didn't want to use the word pop-up, but hey, it was a pop-up technically, but once again, I wanted mine to be different. So mine was more about empowerment more than the whole pop-up aspect. And when it actually came together, I was so overwhelmed because I took a huge step on faith to even do it in the first place, to the point I was like, what am I thinking? Like I'm too much of a baby at this. Like I'm too much of an infant. I'm too much in the infancy stage to try and do this. Like, what are you thinking? Like I literally was telling that to myself once I got closer to it. Like, I don't know what you would think in trying to do this, but once it came together, it was like, wow, like I really am capable of accomplishing something, even if it's not a quote unquote perfect vision, just the fact to actually.
And I was told to, if you aren't.
Okay, I'm all set for you.
So I was told that if it doesn't scare you, then the vision isn't big enough. You should be on pins and needles, quite honestly.
That's true.
If it's like, oh, I got this, you know,
You haven't.
then it isn't big enough.
Right, you know what, and that's a good point. It's like I love that. If it's not scaring you, you haven't stepped out further away from your comfort zone. You know, like the radius is too close to comfort if you're not nervous, and that is an awesome way of putting that. Even last year, I walked away from a career that was pretty lucrative, but I was pretty miserable, because I was just like,
Oh,
I'm not living my dreams one bit.
right.
And I was in situations where I'm talking numbers and I'm talking taxes, and people were like, oh, I love your personality and your energy. And it's just like, the energy that you're picking up on is not because I'm passionate about what we're speaking about, though, was the problem. And I was just like, I have to figure out a way where I can utilize this energy in something that also serves me a level of joy, because we have to have that in our lives. So it's just awesome what you just said. Now, mind you, it was absolutely scary to sit there and say, oh, well, you know what? I'm 42 years old, to sit there and make a decision, I'm getting close to my mid 40s, is not necessarily the ideal thing to do. And of course it was scary, but I was living in a comfort zone, air quotes, for so long. I felt like, I feel like sometimes, big dreamers or people that dream in color, it gets to the point where it smothers you when you don't make that bold decision, or when you don't step out. It's like it eats at you and it eats at you and it eats at you.
Absolutely.
Because there's something bigger, like the big dreamers, the bold dreamers, like we know there's something big down the line, that we can get to. But I feel like when
you can just get to it.
Right. And it's like we have to, it's like it's a requirement. Like you have to step out of your comfort zone. If you don't, like you'll never achieve those goals. Like it's impossible. Like it's a marriage that won't work. You can't have comfort, and dream big. Like it just doesn't fit. Like you have to step out of your comfort zone.
And you said something just now that really resonated. You said when people dream big, or when they're big thinkers, that thing will eat away at you. Until you can, make it come to pass.
Right.
And I went through a period where I even tried to pray it away. I was like, Lord, look. I said, if I'm not going to have it, then please just let the desire go away. Let me, because I've witnessed, I've been around people who are content for the most part in what they do. I can't all use a little more money or something to that effect, yes.
Right.
But I know people who are either in their field or doing something they love, or otherwise just content with life. I can tell they don't have a real desire for, anything else, and they're just kind of doing their thing. And I was like, okay, Lord, like I can deal with it if it's not going to pass. Like that's cool, but if you could just put a desire for it, then I'd be, really good.
Right.
And I prayed that prayer to the point to where I said, okay, well, Courtney, maybe there's a reason the desire isn't going away.
Right.
And I just happen to be a spiritual person, and the Lord has worked other things out in my favor,
right?
Or has removed things that weren't serving me, put me in positions that I needed to be, or taken me out of ones that I didn't. And I felt like for me to continually ask Him that, and He not move in that way,
right?
Then maybe I needed to take a second look. Maybe I needed to dust off the naysayers, dust off my own energy that told me I couldn't or shouldn't or wouldn't, and try it.
I totally agree with that. And it's funny that you said that, because I've always been the same way. Like there's been situations, even like when I was in my career, and it's just like, everyone was so happy, going to work 8 to 5 and being traditional and, being little robots. And I would be the only one that's just like, wow, like what is wrong with me that I'm not satisfied? Like, why am I like not feeling sitting here? Like I'm very hyperactive. Like people that like know me personally, I literally cannot sit still. So sitting at a desk for like 8 hours was like torture for me. Like I couldn't do it.
Torture.
It's just like I had to do something to kind of think outside of the box. And I was like always the coworker who has to crack a joke. Like it's like I had to do
Girl.
something. Like I was like the unpaid comedian. Like it was to the point that a lot of people I work with were like, "You're like one of the most funniest people I know," and it's just like. And I'm saying to myself, I have to make you guys laugh. If not, I'm going to start screaming. Because
Exactly.
I can't take sitting
Girl,
in
in
this
my
room.
old office, I put on music and
Mm-hmm.
like I livened it up. I was like, no,
Right.
what we will not do is disappear into our offices, disappear into cocoons and
Right.
silos. Because I'm barely making it as is. So we don't
Exactly.
interact up in this mug. Courtney
Right.
is about to go off the deep end.
Right. If you work with Shonda, somebody's about to be distracted. It's
Right.
like, I can't sit here.
Right, right.
Like, I'm going to like say something that's crazy, to make somebody laugh, which is totally not what we're getting paid to do. But hey, we're going to be happy. That was my
Well,
thing.
let me ask you something, if I may.
Hmm.
What has entrepreneurship done for you?
That is an awesome question. So, what entrepreneurship has done for me, it's just given me freedom. It's given me room to breathe. It's given me a platform where I can express myself. It's given me a platform where I feel like I can even encourage others. It's just given me a new world through a new lens. And I feel like I literally am at a road where I can just travel as far as I want to go. Like that's what it
Oh,
does for
wow.
me. Like it's like I'm just the type of person I have to have a level of independence as well. And entrepreneurship has done so much for me that it's just hard to even describe fully. It's just like a joy that I kind of can't really describe. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to make anyone listening think, "Oh, well, you know what? Entrepreneurship is the easy." No, it's not easy at all. But if
No.
you have the heart for it though, cuz it is not for everyone, I will say that. I know some people who they're 100% satisfied working a 9 to 5, 5 days a week, and
Or
I
just
don't
for
knock
someone
them.
else
Right, and I
under
don't
another
knock
system.
them. Right, everyone's different. But for me, that's just not what my heart is. So anyone that wants to go into entrepreneurship, you do have to have a heart for it, okay? And one reason that you do have to have a heart for it is because you're going to have some slow periods. You're going to have some highs. You're going to have some lows. As life, such as life. I mean, that's going to happen, but it's
hmm
worth it,
And the 9 to 5
Hmm.
has its own highs and
Yes.
lows,
Hmm.
its own anxieties. It. Yeah, you could. Yeah, you will have the anxiety of, how do I get startup capital, or how do
Hmm.
I move product, or. But
Hmm.
then you also can go to a 9 to 5 and be like, oh Lord, are they gonna fire me today? Do they think I'm doing a
Right.
good job?
Hmm.
Tell them this, that, and the third. Do I need to go defend myself?
Right.
So you're kind of choosing which avenue at the end of the day, when you do all the pluses and minuses,
Hmm.
have served you better. And I have been in the entrepreneurial realm,
Hmm.
and our business did good for a while,
Hmm.
and then there were issues which were actually more internal than anything that
Hmm.
that brought us to an end.
Hmm.
But like you said, that freedom that I felt, and it was for a couple of years.
Hmm.
I long to get back to that.
Right.
Just
Right.
once you taste that, oh my goodness.
It's
Oh my
it's an
goodness.
awesome feeling. It really is. And like I said, and just to put out the disclaimer, it's not for everyone. Like I
It's
definitely,
not.
I don't knock, people that do 9 to 5s, and I don't knock people who, have certain careers that are just different, obviously, than,
Mhm.
owning a business. That's, you know what I mean? It's just about doing what you're passionate about, too, and that's one of the things too with me personally that I needed to go back to. And same thing, like I actually had owned a business about maybe a decade ago. And at the time, it was perfect for me. I had very young children. And
Mhm.
it was just something that worked for me so that I was flexible. I actually had, maybe like one or two employees. It wasn't like a huge deal where I needed like a ton of people, but it's like it had, me in a place where I could be there for my kids. I was earning money. It was flexible, just practical things for me at the time, too. And, down the line, my life changed, became divorced, single mother, things of that nature. Yeah, at one point, yeah, I had to do my 9 to 5. Like, we would have
Mhm.
starved, But so, as I said, I don't knock that. But I began longing for when I was my own boss, when I had my freedom, when I was able to call my shots, when I was able to, if I'm having a bad day, well, guess what? This is my level of stress. And one thing for
Mhm.
me, like I said, I can't speak for anyone else, but for me, when I was working for this particular company, I've been working for them for like maybe 4 or 5 years. I had had so much work stress. I would think about my accounts in the middle of the night. Okay, I wasn't sleeping
Mm.
normally. I was under a ton of stress. And I'm sitting there like, you know what? I'm stressed out for somebody else's dream. That's the part that was starting to eat
Tell me
me.
about it.
I'm like, okay, the person that owns this lives very lavish and I don't, so I'm like, I don't really want to be up at night to help someone live their dreams. Am I willing to
Absolutely.
be up at night thinking about my own business? Yes. Like
All day.
I'll stay up
All day.
24 hours, okay, over something that I own, that's building for my family, and I'll do it at
Mhm.
any given second. But for me, I could no longer help other people live their dreams. And I'm going to throw out the race card too. I was working for companies that were owned by rich white men. Okay, I
Mhm.
needed to do something that supported this black woman. Okay,
Right.
that's
Right.
what I needed to be a part of. And it just got to a point where I just was like, I can't do this anymore. On so many levels, this is just not fulfilling my dreams, And I'm like I said, once again, as an African American woman, I wanted more for myself. And
Mhm.
I don't regret my decisions. I hope I don't ever have to look back on them because because I really don't want to do that. Like I said, we live in a time now where I think, especially for black women, and this is, I don't want to insult anyone else, but I'm just saying from my perspective, I can only speak for me. So I'm saying, as an African American woman, it gives me great joy. I see so many female entrepreneurs on a daily basis, and then you and I, of course, us living, in Louisiana, we have like women who have blown up. I mean, Super Judy. I mean, come on. I feel like,
Mhm.
how can you not get hyped up when you see,
At least try.
right, or when you see these beautiful black women who are just like us, similar backgrounds, down to earth women that have proven and shown that, guess what? You too can have a piece of the pie. You too can have a
Mhm.
dream and work on it. No, it may not blow up as big as theirs, but you still can work towards something. You still have the
Exactly.
tools to make it happen, or at least try. There's nothing in life that, hurts us from trying,
Fine. Oh
so
yeah. No.
right. So just when I look at those two women in particular, I just feel like we can do anything. Like they inspire us in so many ways more than they probably even realize, which is another, beautiful thing of their humility. But I just feel like this is the best time right now for women in particular. If you do have that dream, just step outside of the box, just try it. If you are confused on how to get started with your business, we live in an awesome time of social media. I've done so much networking in the past few months, just on social media alone,
Mhm.
there
Mhm.
are a lot of resources out there, to step out and network with people, get to know different people, ask questions. I mean, there's so many tools out there to give you the logical steps and also the motivation to follow your dreams, and you can start small, but I feel like the opportunity is 100% there. And like I said, we live in an awesome time period right now where I feel like we all really can do whatever we want to do. Even like my podcast, for example, I had no clue. I still don't have a clue what I'm doing. But I looked at it like, why not? I just feel like we literally can do whatever we want to do.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
when I decided to
And
start a
you
business,
said something
mm-hmm,
that really just got to me. You said, working to make someone else's dream come true.
mm-hmm,
And what happened to me was, see, you got a chance to resign.
mm-hmm,
I bought into this young lady's vision.
mm-hmm,
I mean, bought in wholeheartedly.
mm-hmm,
She said on many occasions, "You're the only person that truly gets what I'm doing here."
mm-hmm,
She was like, "We have awesome people that work here, blah, blah, but you truly get it."
mm-hmm,
And then she fired me.
mm.
And
I
I
think,
was like, never
mm-hmm,
again
mm-hmm,
in this life or the next one
right,
will I give so much of myself to someone else's dream, someone else's retirement plan,
mm-hmm.
someone else's legacy.
Exactly, because
And
you're expendable at the end of the day, and
honey,
and they will show you you're
honey,
expendable. Trust me, I've experienced it myself. The company I was
and
working for, number one, I was the only African American in my department for the longest, so
mhm,
that already had its own chapters, of a
sure,
horror story. Let's just face it. I felt like I had to, I first of all, I felt like so many feelings with that. I was one of the most seasoned people, and they all like me. Don't get me wrong. I mean, what's there not to like? No, I'm playing, but it's like, yeah, they like me, because I put on that personality for them, and they loved it. They ate it up. They love when we're articulate, blah blah blah. So I fit the mold for them. Okay, I was very good with my clients. I even won these cute little awards one year. Okay. But at the end of the day, when it was time for promotions, do you think they were looking at me? It didn't matter that I had won these awards. It didn't matter that all these clients liked me. They didn't care about that. And that was one thing I looked at. Another thing that happened to me while I worked for that company, I had actually experienced a miscarriage. Found out
mm,
on a Monday that the child I was carrying had no heartbeat. I want to say I had my DNC probably, what, the next day I was working, matter of fact. Okay. That Wednesday I had a DNC. By that
wow,
Friday, my manager actually asked me in a written message, she was like, "Is there something wrong with you? Because your tone is very sharp with me." It's like,
is
really?
there
It's
what?
like, right. And I was just like, it was little things like that where I knew in the back of my mind I was not going to be working for these people much longer, because I'm like, I'm not a person. And that's one thing I had an issue with, one of the many things I had an issue with. But, like I said, I also, just like you said, I was like, not in this lifetime. And like you said, nor the next, will I ever sacrifice my time, my sleep, or my peace for somebody else's vision and for somebody else's
Tell me
dream,
about it.
because they don't care at the end of the day when you're an employee. And like I said, let me put out another disclaimer. I don't want people listening to this to be like, I'm going to quit my job tomorrow because of, no, I'm not telling y'all to do that. But I'm just saying for me, yeah, like I say, as for me in my house, I said I was never going to stress myself out again for somebody else's dream, because most employers, I hate to say it, as an employee, you're very expendable. They will get rid of you in a heartbeat. Okay, that's just how it is. Or just like that infamous meme that's like, live your life, because if you die tomorrow, your employer is just gonna, post your job. I mean, they will,
Absolutely.
and I'm not even faulting places for that, because they have their bottom line too. But I'm just saying.
And here's something to that too.
Mm-hmm.
If you do the 9 to 5, make sure you take advantage of every sick day, vacation day, comp time. That too is part of your benefits package. Number one,
right?
It's yours. It's owed to you. Don't let anybody make you feel like the stuff they sold you on. Oh, you get 8 weeks a year. You get blah blah blah. Now all of a sudden you need to be ashamed to take, or scared to ask for, or schedule, or however, because that's your time. If you're not the person who's going to quit, whatever, that's your time. That's your time to travel. That's your time for leisure. That's your time to do something for yourself.
Right.
That's your time to maybe discover the dream, discover the goal. And I've seen the numbers on the rate at which, Americans in particular give back all that time.
Yep.
And feel like you must be working all day, every day. And after the young lady fired me, I said, at the very least, if I have to work, if it's something I need to do for me, I'm doing it. Now, if you got a problem, we can solve it. And I just have to really put in my spirit that, you know what, the job can fire me, or I'm expendable to them, but I'm also marketable. And I can be just as good somewhere else as I can, here. And I just put it in my spirit that if it comes down to that, I'm willing to, put myself first and keep moving.
And I'm glad you said that too. And I hate to, because I think we've all had that. We've all been at a job, and stop me if I'm wrong, there's always that one person like that complains all day long. Oh, they just hate this company, they don't like it, but guess what, they're normally the person that's worked there the longest. It's just like it's like, well, why don't you leave? It's what you say, and I'm glad you said that too. It's just like, know your market value. You're all marketable, like you're worthy. Like that's the thing that kind of kills me too. Like I've had situations where I've had friends and they're just miserable at their jobs, and it's like, why are you still there? That's just like, either you gonna it or get off the pot. It's just like, what's the point in living a life where you're this unhappy, or you're just complaining and being negative every day too? There's so many other jobs out there. I'm sorry, that's just, if anyone's listening, where are all the jobs? I mean, if you look and seek, I just feel like there's always another alternative than just sitting and being miserable every single day. That's just the way I look at it personally. But
absolutely,
this all goes back to, there's some people, and don't get me wrong, there's some entrepreneurs that still hold down a job, 9 to 5, and I definitely don't knock that either. And that also goes back to, let's say, for example, you are working your 9 to 5 and you truly aren't in a position where you can leave, which is totally fine. Still don't let that stop you for pursuing your dreams. If you still want to start your business, hey, I mean, number one, you have your regular seed money to start it. Work on that dream after work, or on the weekends, or even on your lunch break. Like, don't even let that 9 to 5 hold you back from, starting that business. There's so many people that have, and I hate how people say it, side hustle. It's like, give people what it is. That's their business. Not that I'm knocking the whole term side hustle, but I think sometimes people like to minimalize a person's accomplishments. If you do your earrings outside of work, or do bracelets, or do cakes outside of work, guess what? That's still your business that you put your time and heart and soul into, and that's generating some income. That is your business, So don't let that discourage you either. And I think, sometimes we let our jobs hold us back. You can still hold on to your job too and still pursue your dreams. There's always, You know, unless you work 7 days a week, 24 hours out the day, there's got to be some free time where you can still invest in yourself as well. I mean, that's just one thing I think people should take with them as well. Like, you don't necessarily have to quit your job to start your business, but don't let
No,
anything
not at
hold you
all.
back. Just don't even let that 9 to 5 be like, oh, well, I can't do my business. No, like, you definitely can do it. And then if that is your true goal eventually, to be like, okay, well, I want my business to grow so that eventually I can walk away from that job. That's how you got to dive head first into it, and you really
Mhm.
can achieve that goal. But just don't let anything hold you back. And I do think that's another chapter that some people who they have some dreams they want to pursue, but they also let the job that they currently have hold them back, thinking they can't do both. And not that I'm saying that
Right.
is easy, but it is possible.
No, it is digging deep, finding some extra energy, one.
Right, right.
Time, two.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the 24-hour day, it really comes down to making the most of every second, minute, and hour.
Mm-hmm.
I go to sleep at a certain time so I can get up and go work out in the morning. I work out before work.
Mm-hmm.
Then I go to work, and then I make sure I get time with my family. I always want to make sure that's in there.
Right.
And I make sure I make time to work on, my passions,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's, like you said, sometime on social media, trying to meet, trying to access, trying to learn, trying to
Mm-hmm.
grow, whether it's doing something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when I consider my day over,
Right.
when I have accomplished those things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I consider it a good day, because there are days, hey, we're human. It doesn't always go like that.
Right, right, definitely.
But on a good day, the alarm went off, I got up, I worked out, work went well, came home, got with the guy, got with the kid,
Mm-hmm.
went well, did something for the dream and shut the eyes.
Right, right. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm just really excited. This is one of the, I don't know, for some reason, I don't know if it's 2020, if it's, I just had like a lot of excitement before this year even started, honestly. Like,
Mhm.
maybe because it's the 2020, and I know a lot of people are using that 2020 vision theme, but it really is confirmation. I just feel like this seems like this is going to be the year of clarity, a year of, a clearer vision.
Confirmation.
Right,
Mhm.
definitely
Mhm.
confirmation for whatever it is you want to do. And I've said it so many times. If your goal is this year to start a business, if your goal this year is to be more healthier, whatever it is you want to do, you can go bold and go big. Start your
Mhm.
business. If you're trying to lose weight, you can lose that 20 pounds. Whatever it is you're
Right.
trying to do. If you're trying to have healthier relationships, you know love yourself first. And I guarantee once you start loving yourself first, everyone that's meant to be in your life will come to you like a magnet. But it
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
possible. It is there. If let's say you already have a business and your goal this year is to expand that business, if you had a good successful year in 2019 and you're like, well, hey, I want to double or triple, my presence, or triple, my client base, it is possible. All things work together. I think 2020 really truly is going to be a year of confirmation and a clearer vision for everyone.
Absolutely.
I definitely
Absolutely.
feel a level of excitement, with this year. And last year, for 2019, it was a year of clarity for me and a year of a lot of big decisions. So for me, 2019 was just kind of full circle. I definitely don't put it
Mhm.
in the Rolodex for a bad year by no means. It was a year where I definitely didn't start off January of 2019 thinking, oh, I'm going to start a business and I'm going to, leave a career and I'm going to do this and do that. I had no idea, but by the
Mhm.
end of 2019, I felt like, oh, this is meant to be. This is where I was supposed to be at. And I felt closer, like you were mentioning, I felt closer to the goals I had set for myself. Whether, like I said, some levels was just an inch, some levels were a mile. It still felt like I had gotten closer to the vision that I have. And that's what made me super excited for 2020, because I'm like, okay, well, this is a new year, for bigger and bolder and better. So I really think this is going to be the year for a lot of people. And like I said, this is not just about 2020, it's about 2020 and beyond. I know there's a controversy. This is a new decade, and this is just a time for everyone just to be bigger, bolder, and better. And I think that's going to be
absolutely
my 3 Bs for the rest of the year: bigger, bolder, and better. And we're all searching for greater too, of course. So I really think 2020 is just going to be the thing. And just to barrel back to, entrepreneurship, like I said, this is just an awesome time, I think, right now to just start a business in general. I feel like it's always a good time to start a business, always. But right now, right now, I just feel like, I see so many beautiful women that have started businesses and they're getting success, on so many different levels. And it's just a great thing to see. And this is a good time to join, this unspoken sisterhood and just see, where you can go with it. So, like I do encourage people that are listening, like I said, if you have a dream in your mind and you're not really sure how to mold it or where to start, I definitely encourage people to just seek out, I mean, in general, I think most people are welcoming, to mentor people. I'm not saying that they have time to necessarily maybe put someone under their wing 7 days a week, but it never hurts to just reach out and ask someone. And hey, if you ask one person and they may slam a door on you, guess what? Go to the next person and ask them. Keep asking and knocking on the door until you find that one person that's going to open that door and say, hey, yeah, sure, I'll talk to you. I'll give you some insight. I'll give you, some steps. That I guarantee you that person is waiting and they're more than excited to talk to you and encourage you. But just don't give up is the main thing. Like, just keep that hope and follow your dreams, because life is so precious and so short and so fragile, and we're not guaranteed tomorrow. So we only have one life to live. So it's just super important to just go ahead and remove the dream killers out of your life, no matter who they are. Remove the negative speakers out of your life. Negativity is like an acid, okay? And if someone speaks negative thoughts to you or just negative scenarios, please remove them, because it's literally like an acid and you really don't want that over your spirit. So, remove all of that out of your life and just hold on to some positivity, but always pursue your dreams. Like whatever it takes to pursue them, go ahead and do it. If you want to pursue your dreams, if for one particular person, that 9 to 5, if they have the tools to walk away, or let's say for this year, let's say for some individuals, what they want to do, their 9 to 5 really does not fit the vision at all. I'm not saying go ahead and quit tomorrow. Don't do that. But you can map out your timeline and map out your vision board or your box and figure out exactly what you need to do this year to get closer to that dream or that goal. Or if you're in a position right now, like I said, where you do have your business, you just started and you're trying to build it, work on that vision and pursue it, and you can achieve it. But don't let anything or anyone stop you, and just keep a positive mindset, and you can definitely achieve that. And I've probably preached a sermon, so I'm going to let you put in some closing thoughts, Courtney.
Yeah, no, I think what I would say is do something daily, like seriously daily. If it's small, if it's big, do something daily, because that keeps the dream alive for you. The more distance you put in between the actions you take, the dream kind of falls flat.
Right.
You know, if you do something on a Monday and you're feeling good about it, but you don't return to that for another 3, 4, 5 days, then that becomes a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And it isn't until maybe somebody says, hey, you still doing that thing, that you pick it up again. No, I daily do something, one thing, and you'll be surprised at the time you find, the energy you find to do something a little more and a little more and a little more every time. And that's how, because I think sometimes, for those who may still be, in the 9-to-5 rat race, you're looking at it like, how in the world do I get there? Like, how do I go from sitting at this desk
right.
to, owning the building or, working online or something like that? And it really is baby steps. It is one thing at a time. That no one, I think unless you got, certain folk in your life to kind of hook you up in that way, no one says, Monday I quit, Friday I'm, starting and, being lucrative and things like that. It's baby steps.
Right.
And, those baby steps, they do something for you. They put an energy in you. They invigorate you to take more steps and bigger steps. For me, it started with daring to put my profile on the gig salad. Like, it truly started there. Like, because I moved here from Atlanta. I was in Atlanta for 12 years or so. So everyone knew me there. Like, I never had to really think about, can I do certain things, people either contacted me or found somebody to contact me, or I say, hey, this is what I want to do. I knew enough people to get venues free and music free and photography and you name it, And so, but when we moved to New Orleans, that wasn't the case.
Right.
So I was kind of back at a starting point almost, because I think to a certain extent people could tell, oh, well, she's talented, or, oh, she at least sounds like she can do such and such. But without the community that I built, it was really starting from scratch. And I said, you know what, Courtney, you know what you can do. You know who you are. You know what your goals are. All you need is for someone to give you a chance, like you did when you were in Atlanta. I had to remind myself I wasn't always, whatever. I had to start somewhere there as well. And I said, okay, put it up, Courtney. Just put it up, see where it goes. I really felt like in the spirit, it would come, and that was one small step. And I tell you, even putting the website up and doing the, writing the little jargon and putting up the pictures and, things like that. I'm like, okay, I felt like, okay, that was good. And then ding, the first little message came up and I'm like, hey, and it just went from there. So daily, it seems small, insignificant now, but it's the first block or the first brick. And go from there. Just go.
Right.
And now I find myself, like you said, sometimes, yes, I'm very tired, but I will get up again, turn the light back on, and write something down, or get up early and go to my designated space in the house and do something else. I'm finding it. I'm eking it out. Yeah, I'm tired. Yeah, I could sleep. Yeah, I could lay down. But when you start to get that fire in you for that thing, it will fuel you.
Right.
It will. So, just start. And I know it sounds so easy, but really just start.
Right.
And if anything else is a second to that, find a way to make yourself accountable. And what I did was I said things out loud to other people, because I know how folk are. Humans are going to hold you to it. Did you do it yet?
Right.
And so, and the minute I say, then it all comes full circle, So find a way to make yourself accountable. If it's one partner, if it's, kind of just saying things out loud, to one person, a couple people, and let them check in with you. Let them call you out on it,
Right.
That would probably be a very close second.
Well, like I said, once again, I enjoyed this talk. I really am excited just about 2020, and I feel like anyone that tuned into your live or who may go ahead and listen to the podcast recording later, I feel that they are definitely going to walk away with a blessing. Once again, if anyone wants to listen to the podcast, and this is for anyone that may not be present with Courtney's live, if they just go ahead and follow Instagram, and they may see on either my page or Courtney's later that we did have our podcast available. They can go to www.queensarrogance.com. And one thing I do want to say too about the whole Queen's Arrogance, if anyone's curious, like, okay, well, how did you come up with that name? Arrogance to me is not a negative thing, and it falls into exactly what me and Courtney were talking about, or just being bad and being bold. Wear that crown, baby. So that's why it's about a queen's arrogance. Put the crown on your head and roll with it. Like, you are special, and you can achieve anything you want to do. So once again, if anyone wants to listen to the podcast or any of our past podcasts, just go to www.queensarrogance.com. Once you do go to the website, depending on what you're using, whether you're using a smartphone, there is a computer logo. So just go ahead and click on that, and you will see where it says our podcast, and go ahead and click on it, and it will direct you to the Podbean website where you can access all of the podcast recordings. So I just want to round out this recording, as I round out most of my recordings, is whatever season that you're in right now, just remember that, number one, go love yourself. That is my mantra. Loving yourself is it's just 100% the ultimate goal at the end of the day. You have to have that self-love in order to have that boldness. Okay, you have to love yourself and value yourself first. And like we mentioned, just getting the naysayers out of your head, or just, wanting to achieve that dream. You have to love yourself first in order to get that way. So that that what your self-worth is. And everyone that is listening, when I say you are 100% worthy, you can achieve whatever it is you want to achieve in life. You have the tools, and it's right there sitting in your heart. But just make sure that you love yourself. You are beautiful, and you can be bigger, bolder, and badder in order to achieve greatness. So just always remember to love yourself. And once again, I want to thank Courtney Mpagi. This has been an awesome broadcast. And also, if you do look at my Instagram page, it is Queens LA_collection. I do have some snippets from Courtney in her awesome speech at my empowerment brunch, actually, that took place in December. So go ahead and just take a look at those videos, and you can get some more insight of Miss Awesome Courtney and her wonderful message. So once again, if anyone has any questions, they can reach Courtney and I. All of our contact information will be listed on Instagram, but definitely go ahead to www.queensarrogance.com, and you can go ahead and listen to our podcast. And I want to thank everyone for listening, and once again, go love yourself.